Hezbollah rockets target Haifa, raising fears of wider conflict. On October 7, 2024, Hezbollah launched rockets targeting Haifa, escalating the Israel-Hezbollah conflict. The rockets, fired from southern Lebanon, struck residential areas, causing widespread panic. This marked the first attack on Haifa since the 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war, raising alarms about a potential wider conflict. The Israeli government condemned the attacks, calling them an act of war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed a swift response, stating Israel would not tolerate attacks on its citizens. Sirens blared throughout Haifa as residents sought shelter. Emergency services rushed to the scene, treating the wounded and assessing the damage. The attack on Haifa, a city with a mixed Jewish and Arab population, has sent shockwaves through Israel. The Israeli military, already engaged in southern Lebanon, is now bracing for a wider confrontation. The international community has expressed grave concerns, urging both sides to de-escalate. The coming hours and days will be critical in determining the trajectory of this conflict. The world watches anxiously as tensions rise in the Middle East. Want to know what is happening? Let's know the story from the beginning. Immediate impact and casualties in Haifa. The rocket attacks on Haifa left a trail of destruction and casualties. Hospitals were quickly overwhelmed with the injured, as first responders struggled to reach those trapped under rubble. Among the injured were men, women and children, some with severe burns and shrapnel wounds. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, reported at least 8 people were killed, with dozens more injured. The number of casualties is expected to rise as rescue workers continue to search for survivors. The rockets caused significant damage to buildings and infrastructure, leaving many residents homeless. The city's port, a vital economic hub, was also damaged, disrupting trade and commerce. The attacks have left the residents of Haifa reeling in shock and disbelief. Many spoke of the terror they felt as the rockets rained down on their city. The IDF has deployed additional troops to Haifa to maintain order and assist with rescue efforts. The situation in Haifa is a stark reminder of the human cost of this conflict. Israel responds with airstrikes on Beirut. Following the Hezbollah rocket attacks on Haifa, Israel launched retaliatory airstrikes against targets in Beirut. The Israeli Air Force targeted Hezbollah facilities, including weapons depots and command centers. The strikes sent shockwaves through the Lebanese capital as explosions lit up the night sky. The IDF released footage of the airstrikes, showing precision-guided munitions hitting their targets. Israeli officials stated the strikes were aimed at degrading Hezbollah's military capabilities. However, reports emerged from Beirut of civilian casualties and damage to civilian infrastructure. The Lebanese government condemned the Israeli airstrikes as a violation of its sovereignty. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah vowed to retaliate against Israel, promising a harsh response. The exchange of fire has pushed the region closer to the brink of a wider war. The international community has expressed deep concern over the escalation of violence. Rocket fire engulfs northern Israel, striking Tiberias and beyond. As the conflict intensified, rocket fire engulfed northern Israel, reaching beyond Haifa to strike towns and cities. The resort town of Tiberias, located on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, was among the areas targeted. Rockets slammed into residential neighborhoods, hotels, and tourist attractions, sending residents and visitors fleeing for safety. The IDF reported hundreds of rockets fired from Lebanon into Israel, with the vast majority intercepted by the Iron Dome defense system. However, the sheer volume of rockets overwhelmed the system in some areas, allowing some to hit their targets. The widespread rocket fire paralyzed life in northern Israel, forcing schools, businesses, and government offices to close. The attacks on Tiberias and other northern Israeli communities demonstrated Hezbollah's reach and firepower. The Israeli government has vowed to respond forcefully, with Prime Minister Netanyahu stating Israel would hunt down those responsible. The relentless rocket fire has left residents of northern Israel living in a state of constant fear and uncertainty. The situation has created a humanitarian crisis, with thousands displaced and in need of assistance. Hezbollah, a proxy of Iran in a multifaceted conflict. To understand the current conflict, it is crucial to understand Hezbollah, a powerful Shia Islamist political party and militant group based in Lebanon. Founded in the 1980s, Hezbollah is deeply embedded in Lebanese society, providing social services and holding seats in parliament. However, it is their military wing, armed and financed by Iran, that has made Hezbollah a formidable force in the region. Hezbollah's ideology is rooted in a staunch opposition to Israel, which it views as an illegitimate state. The group has been responsible for numerous attacks against Israeli targets over the years, including suicide bombings and rocket attacks. Hezbollah's close ties to Iran have made it a key player in Tehran's regional ambitions. The current conflict is part of a broader power struggle in the Middle East. Iran, through its support of Hezbollah, seeks to challenge Israel's military superiority. The conflict also intersects with the ongoing Syrian civil war, where Hezbollah supports the regime of Bashar al-Assad. The potential for the conflict to draw in other actors and escalate into a regional war is a grave concern. International condemnation and calls for restraint. The international community has reacted with alarm and condemnation to the escalating conflict. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting calling for an immediate ceasefire. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres expressed deep concern over the loss of civilian life. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, has expressed unwavering support for Israel's right to defend itself. However, the Biden administration has also urged Israel to avoid civilian casualties and exercise proportionality. The U.S. has called on all parties to de-escalate the situation and return to the negotiating table. European leaders have also condemned the violence and called for a ceasefire. The European Union's foreign policy chief, Josep Borrell, stated that the rocket attacks on Israeli civilians were unacceptable. The international community's response reflects the gravity of the situation. Diplomatic efforts are underway to broker a ceasefire and prevent further bloodshed, but the path to peace remains elusive. Thank you for watching. For more in-depth analysis and updates on this developing story, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.